Hey everyone, I'm Shaylin here with Reedsy. Today we're going to be talking about last minute NaNoWriMo prep. If you have just at the last minute decided to do NaNoWriMo, you might have some last minute prep to scramble together. If you're feeling both overwhelmed and excited about this crazy challenge you've decided to embark on, here are 6 things that you can do to make the task just a little bit easier and set yourself up for success even if you're going into this at the last minute. Number 1, make a loose outline. You probably don't have time to make a full detailed outline, especially if this is a newer idea or if outlining just takes you a fairly long time. A lot of writers like myself don't even like to write from an outline. I'm the kind of writer who prefers to just discover as I go. However, when it comes to NaNoWriMo, an outline is probably a pretty useful tool. But if you're pulling one together last minute, or you don't really like outlining that much, a loose outline can be super beneficial. Try to just lay out the basic plot point, not, develop chapter by chapter summaries or scene by scene summaries. Just kind of figure out the few key plot points along your timeline. The major events that are going to take place and really act as cornerstone events within the story. Knowing just these few things, plus your character's goals and the general conflicts, will give you a lot to work with going into NaNoWriMo, even if you don't know every single plot point. This way you can work on just bridging plot point to plot point, which is a lot easier to approach than going into the book with absolutely nothing. Number 2, do some brainstorming. Even if you don't want to write from an outline, it'll probably benefit you to do some just light brainstorming. It'd be really useful to just brainstorm a list of possible scenes. It doesn't have to be scenes that will necessarily have to take place. You might realize that some of these are necessary later on. Some of them might be pretty vague ideas even. But if you can just brainstorm a list of possible scenes that you can reference if stuck, it'll give you a lot of material to work with if you hit a wall. Number 3, examine your month and plan some writing sprint days. Now to win NaNoWriMo, you have to write just under 1,700 words a day. If you have a very consistent schedule, maybe this is something you can pre-plan in advance. But I think it's really useful to, at the start of your month, try to find a couple days that are going to be your sprint days. Days where you are going to write as much as you possibly can. This way you can kind of lighten your workload for the rest of the month. Say you just pick 3 Saturdays in the month and these are going to be your sprint days. Days where you're going to try to do a ton of writing sprints or just write as much as you can. Days you're basically dedicating to writing. Now very few of us can find tons of these all throughout the month, but if you can just find 2 or 3, it can give you an edge by being able to lighten your daily word count for the rest of the month. If possible, it's also great to plan one of these as early in the month as possible, just so you can build up a bit of a buffer. And number 4, with that, make a schedule. NaNoWriMo is broken down by a daily word count, and it is a great way to try out a daily writing practice. But if that's totally not feasible for you, try to look at your weeks in advance and plan out all of your writing sessions. Look for free time and schedule it in advance so you know the time is there and you won't kind of just shove writing off until the last minute and the end of the day and when I'm done this and when I'm done that and then never end up doing it. Not speaking from personal experience or anything. We've got a video on scheduling for NaNoWriMo in our NaNoWriMo playlist, so that is linked in the card. Number 5, clean your house. NaNoWriMo is an extra pretty big responsibility that you're taking on if you're really dedicated to winning or just doing really well. And that can mean a few things. 1, it means less time to just do general tasks around your house. And 2, you want to minimize distractions as much as possible. I personally find it's really hard to work in a messy workplace. If my house is a mess, it feels like my brain is a mess. And so for that reason, I would recommend at minimum just cleaning up your workspace. But if you can, just do like a deep clean of your whole house. That way you'll just feel like you have this extra peace of mind and kind of a clear head going into NaNoWriMo, where you now have this huge extra thing that you've taken on, but at least your house is looking great. And number 6, start getting in the mindset of your project. Whatever it is that tends to really hype you up about your project, do it. For me, I find that's listening to music on my playlists for that specific book. I associate music with my work a lot. When I start listening to the music I associate with a certain project a lot, it really just gets me in that headspace. Whatever it is that you can do to really hype yourself up about your project, do it. If you like to draw your characters, do that. If you just want to kind of read over anything you've already written or planned, do that. Talking about it with a friend, do that. Anything you can do to just really get you in that headspace so that you're really excited, really feeling pumped to just start strong at the beginning of the month. It's great if going into that first day you're so excited to write rather than feeling like this is a big task and feeling kind of daunted. Get yourself excited not just about the book itself, but about doing NaNoWriMo. It's a lot of work, but it can be really, really fun, so get excited for it. So those are 6 tips on how to prep for NaNoWriMo. To recap, do some preliminary planning either by making an outline or just some loose brainstorming depending on what you have time for and how detailed of an outline you typically like to work from. Even if you're not usually much of a planner, for a writing challenge this condensed, having just a little bit of a structure to work from can make it a lot easier. You also want to start scheduling. See if you can set aside a few days to write a ton, as much as you can, maybe around 3 in the month if you can find those times. And otherwise, just look at your month and your weeks in general and try to set aside your writing sessions. Figure out which time of the day you're going to write, which days you're going to write, which days you're going to write more, just so that you've really blocked aside that time and you have the peace of mind of knowing that you have the time to do that. And then get in the right mindset, doing anything you can to hype yourself up about your project so you're really in the mindset of the book. If you're doing NaNoWriMo this year, let me know. I'm sadly not doing it this year. It's just not aligning well with my schedule or what my current writing projects are, but I am starting to think about doing it next year. It's been a couple of years since I've done NaNoWriMo. I did it 5 years in a row when I was in high school, and so it's been a while since I've done NaNoWriMo and I'm starting to miss it. So I'm starting to think about next year, setting my sights on that. It's been so long that I feel like I couldn't do it anymore, but like I did it when I was 13, so I feel like I should be able to do it now. If you guys are doing NaNoWriMo, let me know. What are you guys writing about? Is it your first time doing Nano? Have you done it before? Thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any new videos from us. We've got new writing, editing, and publishing videos every Tuesday and Friday. Until next time.